Hi everyone. This is a video that I have wanted to do for a very long time, and it keeps getting sort of put off every time I get unwell or I try to make another video. So I thought I would sit down and try and make this video. Now this is going to be part one. I will do a number of other parts to it as I expand on this, but this is sort of an introduction. So this is a video on being prepared, but not in the way you would expect, not in a sort of a prepper, bug out, go into the woods or hide or be sort of prepared with firearms, or this is more of a be prepared as a general citizen whom can be affected by any type of natural disaster emergency. I live in the UK, and currently there's been a really high profile fire which destroyed an entire building, and almost 600 people are at this time, potentially a lot more are affected, and there have been many deaths as well. Following that fire, the government ordered an immediate assessment of other buildings, and they were found to be unsafe as well. Now, recently, I think just over the weekend, people from one of those buildings were evacuated. They were given 30 minutes notice. Some weren't even given notice, but they are being given 30 minutes to take whatever they need and evacuate the building. Now, that I cannot imagine, and my heart and my thoughts and my love and sympathies go out to all those civilians who are affected by this. But as a disabled person, I could not imagine how stressful, how anxious those people are, and how they're suffering. So again, my love and sympathies go out to them, and I thought that this would be a juncture where I should make this video, from the point of being a disabled person myself. I mean, I could not do what they had to do. I would totally break down. Yes, I have people around me that could help me, but if I was unlucky and I was living on my own, I would be in serious trouble. So I thought that at this juncture, as a disabled person, as a person who's interested in sort of being prepared, and with a background of expeditionary stuff, and when I wasn't disabled, I've always been ill, but I wasn't sort of mobility and physically disabled. But I've always been very ill. So as my mobility and my physical disability is now a major number one factor for me, I thought I would do this from my point of view, and I think the things that I want to share will, in some way, give normal people who aren't disabled, or even other disabled people, a reference point, a base value to formulate a plan for themselves. And I really think that the world is not. I don't want to create fake hype. I don't want to do that, and I'm not doing that here. I think that the world is currently not. Many countries, even developed countries, are not always 100% happy and stable. Something always goes wrong, and especially in those countries where people are just not prepared. They are of the view, should I say, that the government or the local authority or the local fire brigade or the police, the ambulance, will respond in a timely manner within some statistical value, 5 minutes or 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and everything shall be all right. Unfortunately, that is not how things play out. That's not how things play out, and it is not the fault of the fire brigade or the ambulance service or the police service or even the government. Sometimes you just don't. Sometimes, yes, people have in office have made oversights, and they have led to large disasters. But when a disaster, say an event happens, and even if the government or the emergency services have made a blunder, that blunder is no good. It's no good now sitting on that blunder. The thing is, we have to move forward and adapt and modify, re-establish, rebuild, and learn from that blunder. And then it is the time to learn. But if we sit and say, the emergency services responded late, or the minister of whatever department messed up, perfectly understandable, please highlight that. But now we need to move on. That is sort of, and it's the moving on, the transition stage. So the accident or the event has happened right now. What do you do in the next week, 2 weeks, month, just to rebuild your life, get back some modicum of control over the chaos? That is why I wanted to do this video. And I don't want to call it a bug bag. I don't want to call it a sort of a prepper type of thing. I want to call it an evacuate bag. The reason because I am hoping that you at some stage will return to your homes or to your apartments or wherever you are based, on a day-to-day basis. Now, this could also be that you might have to go very far, or you might be separated from other members of the family or something. So this can help you to regroup and re-establish and re-strategize and sort of set up new corporations and to learn immediately from the tragedy that has happened and to rebuild. It's all about that. And I understand, and I'm not trying to insult anyone. Please don't take a negative approach to this. This is purely to give a base value of trying to be prepared for a situation, and to be able to not only just help yourself, because that is really important. Don't always look, with a lot of bug out strategies, it is always about being prepared for yourself, or being prepared for just a select group. So your immediate family, your immediate friends, your immediate community. Sometimes you have to be prepared to help humanity at large. And yes, to do that, you must be prepared for yourself and for your immediate family as well. But you must also have a space, a dedicated space in your mind, in your physical being, that you have to help people whom you have never met before. And by doing that, you can re-establish a community. And that is why I wanted to do this video. Now, I know it kind of tends towards being a prepper bag, but it's not. It's, it doesn't contain that kind of, it's not for that philosophy. This is for a community philosophy. And I really think that it is time that people are prepared. Okay, so I am going to speak in a number of sort of parts or episodes or videos on the things that you should have ready to go. And I really think that you should have a sort of an evacuation suitcase. And in that suitcase, a suitcase about 50 litre to 75 litre, a maximum weight of around 20 to 23 kilograms. Something that you would take on an advanced holiday or a business/holiday trip abroad. And I have not included any recommendations in this list that you could not take with you through an airport or through a seaport, or I've not included any recommendations for pyrotechnics or firearms or hunting or catching game or trapping like that. So this is aimed more at remaining in an urban environment, so being evacuated to a sports center, like many casualties and many people were evacuated to, being evacuated to a hotel or to a B&B, bed and breakfast, or so any type of sort of rest place. And a lot of people do have the philosophy that you should be mentally prepared, but sometimes I think it is important, as human beings, I think it is important to be also materially prepared. Because, for example, if you have a child, 2-year-old child, or a newborn baby, they are not going to have that, and I'm not insulting any 2-year-old baby, but, they're not going to have that hardened mental steel, being that, you can stay in an underwear, one piece of underwear for 10 months and only have one sip of water from one bottle of water for the next week or something, and you can just cut the head of a snake and cook it and eat it. No, that's not going to work and that's not going to work for disabled people either. And if you have any type of some people might not like me calling it disability, but you understand what I'm trying to say. I don't want to offend anyone, but if you have any kind of thing that you are not able to adapt to mentally or physically, then you're not going to be able to immediately adapt to that. So you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared, and there are things that you can do. There are things that you cannot control the chaos. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do to advise you on how to control the chaos. I wish I could. I wish there was no chaos. But unfortunately, there is. And there's nothing even I, as a civilian, can do anything about controlling the chaos. But there is something that I can do to be a little bit organized. And that organization, I think, if every person is organized, if you think of it as a step, if every person is organized, then you can sort of, add on steps and add on specialities. You might have a bottle of water with you, or you might have a chocolate bar with you, and you might think, well, I don't need the chocolate bar, I don't need a bottle of water, but the person you might come across might need a chocolate bar, and you might lift their morale. Now that person they might be a surgeon, they might be a plumber, they might be a farrier, they might be a builder, they might be, an off-duty paramedic, and maybe they are not in the mental state to go and help other people. You can't blame them. It's not their job. Even the uniformed fire brigade people who run towards fire, it's not their job. It's just more of a willingness to help people that they do it, but don't put the label of that's their job on them. They are human beings. They have families as well. So, be considerate of that. Just because they are in a uniform doesn't mean 100% that it's their job always. They are human beings. They have families, and they have brains, they have emotions, and for anyone to expect for them to put aside those emotions it's not one, it's not an acceptable thing. And many of those people, doctors, surgeons, police officers, fire brigade people, medics, trauma response people, they suffer a lot. They suffer a lot, and we must recognize that. So you might be able to give one of them a chocolate bar out of pure kindness. You might never have met them, and they might, get that emotional for a little bit of emotional stability, and they might contribute so much back. And it's about that. It's about sort of helping the people you have never met, and helping rebuild immediately after a tragedy. So that is why I want to do this, and it is advocating being materially prepared, and I will explain further why. So thank you very much for watching the introduction, and I will do other following parts to this as well. Thank you. I'll see you later.